Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Why there are so less students? 14, no, only 13 students, right? Diwali not yet completed. Celebrating Diwali. Okay, you guys give your attendance in the chat box. Today I will be teaching the digestion of food. Many students are not there, so I will not discuss very much. I'll just discuss this digestion of food. Okay. Before that, we have discussed this about the digestive system, then about the alimentary canal and the glands, right? So now comes digestion of food. This is the whole process, like how food it gets digested in our body. Okay. So this macromolecules and micromolecules that we will discuss later on. Okay, that is a separate chapter. I have included in this chapter only, but in your syllabus it is a separate chapter known as biomolecules. Okay, we will take up that micromolecule and macromolecules in that chapter. That is biomolecules. Okay, so macromolecule and micromolecule, there are two types of biomolecules. So macromolecules are a little bit bigger and micro are a little bit smaller. That we will discuss this portion. We will just keep it for the next chapter. Okay, today just digestion of food. So what happens? The food which we eat, it contains like in the definition for digestion, we have seen, right, that the complex food materials are converted into some simpler forms, right? Like then only I have mentioned, like there are carbohydrates, fats, proteins, nucleic acids, all these are found, and those needs to be broken down in order to be digested. For digestion to take place, the complex food materials, it needs to be what? It needs to be broken down. It needs to be broken down. So that the chewing we do, right? We chew. That is also a part of digestion. That is also a part of digestion which helps in digestion. Without chewing, chewing also helps to break down the food, right, into small particles. That is why it is advised to uh, like chew more. The food, the amount of time you chew the food, the more you chew the food, the more the less time it will take for digestion. Okay, that is why it is advised to chew your food more, like at 32 times each bite you need to chew 32 times. It is like you don't have to count and chew, but then it is a definite number given, okay? But the thing is that you have to chew, you need to chew the food several times before swallowing it. Okay, we people don't do that, but that is a reason why we suffer from lots of this uh, like gas and stuff like that, right? Because we indigestion is there, then gas and stuff like that. So the reason behind that is that we eat like many unwanted things also, and the next reason is that we don't chew our food enough. Okay, if you chew your food enough times, then it gets digested very fast. Okay, that is the reason why you need to chew food fast. Okay, so chewing food, it is also included in digestion. It is a step of digestion actually, because without chewing food it will not get digested very fast, and chewing is necessary. Okay. So the buccal cavity we were talking about, buccal cavity, the alimentary canal, it starts from the mouth, right? It starts from the mouth, and the inside the mouth it is known as the oral cavity or the buccal cavity, right? Oral cavity or the buccal cavity. So the buccal cavity, it contains of what? Teeth and tongue. We discussed that, right? So with the help of the teeth and the tongue, uh, we like chew things. Do you think on the tongue is not essential? Only the teeth is essential for chewing things? No, the tongue is also very essential. Without the tongue, you won't be able to chew things properly. Okay, the tongue, it also helps in chewing. So just imagine your mouth, you don't have a tongue, and you cannot, it will not be very easy for you to chew the food. The chew, you won't be able to chew the food. Okay, and the you won't be able to like uh, what to say, take the food in, okay, without the help of the tongue. So tongue also play a very important role in chewing and uh, like swallowing things. Okay, so what happens with the help of the teeth and the tongue? We chew things. Okay, we chew and we mix up the things inside our mouth. Okay, okay, that is known as mastication. Okay, this mastication term, that is known as mastication. When you chew our food, and the food is like formed into a mixture, like you are taking different particles, right? Different not particles, different food products. So all those things will be like what to say, mixed into a everything will be mixed up, right? And that is known as mastication of food. Mastication. And mastication of food, it will result in the formation of bolus. Okay, when the food is masticated, when the food is chewed and mixed up in your mouth, the like before swallowing it, that product is known as before swallowing it, that whatever is formed inside your mouth, that is known as the bolus. Okay, that is known as the bolus. Just try to remember the terms. If you remember the terms, then it will be easy for you to write by your own also. No need of memorizing everything very like line by line. Okay. So in the buccal cavity, what happens? With the help of your teeth and the tongue, you chew the things, right? You chew the things and mix the food items, and then it becomes a bolus. And what happens to the bolus now? The bolus is what to say? It passes through the pharynx and esophagus. Pharynx and esophagus, this is the portion, right? This is the pharynx, this is the mouth. You chewed your food here and you swallowed it, and it will pass through the pharynx and the esophagus. This is the esophagus. The food will pass through the pharynx as well as the esophagus. Okay, but before that, in your mouth, some sort of digestion also takes place. Okay, in your mouth, digestion also takes place. So, there are like enzymes present in your oral cavity or in your mouth. Okay, there are two enzymes. Those are known as salivary amylase and lysozyme. These are the enzymes present in the saliva. Okay, saliva, all of you know, salivary gland, it produces saliva. So glands which are associated glands we have studied, right, during that is required in the process of digestion. That associated glands that includes salivary gland. Right here, see. This one, salivary gland. So, from the salivary gland, the saliva is secreted, and in the saliva there are two enzymes known as salivary amylase and lysozyme. Okay, salivary amylase and lysozyme. So, what is the function of the lysozyme? Lysozyme, it acts as an antibacterial agent. Okay, antibacterial agent means what? It helps us to protect ourselves from bacteria. Means it will kill the bacteria. Okay, it will help us from infections, and it will help us from bacterial invasion. Okay, so lysozyme in the saliva, it acts as an antibacterial agent. Let me give you an example. Okay, like have you seen those cows, and mostly the cows, they used to lick their wounds. Not only the cows, actually all the animals, the dogs, cats, and goats, cows. So mostly in the cows we used to see, like if they get hurt, or they are like they get a wound, so they used to lick their wounds. So what do you think is that? Because the saliva, they will lick the wound, then the saliva from their mouth will get to the wound, right? So the saliva, it has an antibacterial agent. Okay, saliva, it has antibacterial agent. Okay, so that means when the cows or when the animals, they lick their wounds, they are protecting themselves from any bacterial invasion, or you can say any infections. Okay, so that they are making their wounds you can say sterilizing their wound, you can say, like, right? So we use for us we use alcohol, right? Alcohol rubs and Detolls and all those in order to sterilize their wounds. So for or any other medicines or any other ointment. But for the cows and for any other animals, they use their own saliva to protect their wounds from any further infection. Okay, that is the reason why they lick their wounds. And when they lick their wound, the saliva from the mouth will transfer into the wound. Okay, so that is because of the lysozyme. Lysozyme is an enzyme present in the saliva, and it helps in it acts as antibacterial agent. Antibacterial agent means it fights against the bacteria. Okay, it helps from bacterial infection. Okay, and then next is the second enzyme is salivary amylase and lysozyme, right? So now salivary amylase. What is the function of salivary amylase? The salivary amylase, it breaks down starch into maltose. Okay, and this is the reason why when you chew your rice, like rice is not sweet. Yes, rice is not sweet, but rice has lot of starch. Okay, rice, it has lot of starch. So when you like chew the rice for some time in your mouth, when you chew it for a certain time, it will get a sweetness, a little sweetness. So where does the sweetness come from? It comes from the maltose, because the salivary amylase from the saliva, it breaks down the starch that is present in the food into maltose. Is it clear? So in the saliva there are two enzymes. One is salivary amylase and one is lysozyme. So lysozyme, it acts as a bacterial agent, antibacterial agent, and salivary amylase, it breaks down starch into maltose. I guess, I hope it is clear. If you have doubt, you can ask me. Okay. So that thing is digested. This is also a process of digestion, right? So the starch, it breaks down into maltose. It is a more simpler form. Starch is a very complex form. Maltose is a simpler form. So salivary amylase, it breaks down starch into maltose. Okay, and next, what happens in the mouth? That too only digestion. That much only happens. Okay, in the buccal cavity or in the oral cavity in the mouth. That much only happens, and then those digestion it happens, and then it the what to say the food, the bolus, that is known as the bolus, it passes through the pharynx and then esophagus, and then it will come to the stomach, right? Then it will come to the stomach. In the stomach there are three what to say uh, in the stomach we have gastric glands. That is why we have gastric, right? Gastric glands. So in the stomach what happens? Three types of substances it acts. One is mucus. Mucus, all of you know the mucus, that is the mucosal thing, that is the mucus. And then there is pepsinogen, and then there is HCl, which means hydrochloric acid. Okay, so in the stomach, these three substances act on the food, that is mucus, then pepsinogen, and hydrochloric acid. Okay, so where does mucus come from? It comes from the mucous neck cells. Okay, mucus comes from the mucous neck cells. You have to just remember this. Then the pepsinogen, it comes from the peptic cells or chief cells that are in the stomach. The mucous neck cells are also in the stomach, peptic and chief cells also in the stomach. Then there is hydrochloric acid, which is secreted by oxyntic cells. Okay, these oxyntic cells are also in the stomach. So these three types of substances, they act on the food, that is mucus and pepsinogen and hydrochloric acid. Okay, this is a type of acid that is present in the stomach. Okay, then what happens when the food it comes to the stomach? When the food it comes to the stomach, like from the esophagus, it will come to the stomach, right? And in the stomach, it will mix up with the gastric juice. Okay, in the stomach, it will mix up with the gastric juice, and that is the reason. See, when you feel hungry, you feel your stomach aches, right? Your stomach it aches, and you feel a burning sensation, right? That is the reason, because the gastric juice it comes out even though the food is not there. The gastric juice comes out, and since the gastric juice it contains hydrochloric acid, that is a form of acid, right? So since the stomach gastric juice forms hydrochloric acid, it has hydrochloric acid. That is the reason why you get that burning feeling when you're hungry, or you're not eating any food. You are feeling hungry, and that time the gastric juice it comes out. Okay, and also when you eat the food, that time also gastric juice it comes out, but you don't feel that burning feeling then, because the gastric juice it mixes up with the food that you eat. But when you are not eating any food, the gastric juice it falls on the walls of the stomach. Okay, and then you get the burning sensation. Okay, so in the stomach, what happens? The protein part of the food, the protein it gets digested. Okay, in the protein part of the food, it gets digested. And the hydrochloric acid, pepsinogen, it plays a very important role in the digestion of protein. Okay. Okay, this is just for your reading purpose. Like same thing. Okay, then HCl it also it acts and then it like the HCl present in the gastric juice, it will like act on the food and then it will that the protein part will get digested and also the milk protein. Same thing for the protein part I already have mentioned. Protein part also the milk protein it will get digested. Milk protein in the case of the small child, infants and the small babies. Okay, those who like take only what to say milk. Okay. Then comes the small intestine. From the stomach, it will come to the small intestine. The food, it will travel to the small intestine. So in the small intestine, what happens? Bile, the pancreatic juice, the intestinal juice, all will act upon the food. Okay. So in the stomach, in the small intestine, in the small intestine, the bile, the pancreatic juice, and the intestinal juice all will act together. Okay, and the pancreatic juice it contains inactive this trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, carboxypeptidase, amylase, lipase, nuclease. All these are enzymes. Okay, these are all enzymes. So pancreatic juice contains these enzymes. Okay, and these are technical stuff. Just try to remember. If you cannot remember also, you can make it like easy and right. Okay, it is not essential to mention everything that I have given you. If you find it a little bit hard, you can make it simpler, convert it into simpler forms and then write. Okay, so okay, so what is in the small intestine, there are bile, pancreatic juice, and intestinal juice, which acts upon the food. Okay, there are also many what to say digestion. It will take place. Mostly fats will be fat and all will be digested. Okay, so the pancreatic juice it contains these enzymes, and the bile it contains bilirubin, bile pigments known as bilirubin and biliverdin. Okay, these are the bile pigments. Bile, it will contain bile pigments, bile salts, cholesterol, and phospholipids. Okay, the bile juice, right? The green colored juice, it will contain these pigments, that is bilirubin and biliverdin. This is the reason the presence of bilirubin and biliverdin, which gives a green color, the specific green color to the bile. Okay, and then there is bile salts, cholesterol, phospholipids in the bile. Okay, and this all helps in the breakdown of fat. Fat is present in the food, right? In different food, fat is present in different quantities. Okay, so then fat is digested. So after fat and protein and everything it gets digested, then what happens? The food it will move to the food, or it is not the food actually. It is more a digested form of that food we took that will pass through the large intestine. Okay, in the large intestine, and then the last stuff which processes which need to be completed that gets completed, and then the process of digestion it is completed. Okay, because after it reaches the large intestine, this large intestine, all the useful stuff, all the stuff that are needed required, those gets taken by our body, digested, and the protein part, whatever that is useful stuff present in the food, that is taken by our body, and then the unwanted substance, or you can say the excreta, it passes out. Okay, the excreta or the unwanted stuff, it passes out the anus and rectum. This is the part where like the stuff, the unwanted stuff or the excreta, it is stored. Okay, it is stored, and when this rectum it becomes full, it passes out of the excreta, it passes out of the anus. Okay, so this is how the process of digestion it gets completed, starting from the mouth. So in the mouth, what happens? Saliva it acts, the salivary amylase and lysozyme, two enzymes. I'll see if you see this portion, it will be a little bit hard, but the points that I will mention now, that are the most important points. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Others not very much essential. Not each thing line by line is not essential. Just whatever I now say, the points that if you remember, that will also do. Okay, so what happens? The process of digestion, it starts in the buccal cavity, in the mouth. Okay, so in the mouth, what happens? The teeth and the tongue, it like chews the food in the mouth. The chewing of the food happens, and that is known as mastication. And then the masticated food, it will form a bolus. Means it will form a ball like uh, what to say structure. Okay, and then that bolus, it will pass through the pharynx and then esophagus, right? And what happens in the mouth? In the mouth, the saliva, okay, from the salivary gland, the saliva comes out, and in the saliva there are two enzymes. One is salivary amylase and one is lysozyme. What is the function of lysozyme? Lysozyme, it acts as an antibacterial agent. Okay, and the function of salivary amylase, it breaks down starch into maltose. Okay, that is the process of digestion takes place in the mouth, and then after that, in the food, it will pass through the pharynx and esophagus, and then into the stomach. Okay, in the stomach, what happens? The mucus, the pepsinogen, and the hydrochloric acid acts. Okay, and in the stomach, generally the protein part of the food, it gets digested. Okay, in the stomach, the protein part of the food gets digested. Okay, and then the food, it comes to the it passes to the small intestine, and in the small intestine, the bile, the pancreatic juice, and the intestinal juice, they are released, and they act upon the food. Okay, they act upon the food, and uh, there the what to say, the fat part, the uh, what to say, the fat part and the other parts of the food that are left out, those gets digested, and then after main process of digestion, last process of digestion, it will take place in the small intestine itself. Okay, and after that, the excreta, it will pass to the large intestine, and then it will be stored in the rectum, and then it will pass out to the anus. Okay, that is how the whole process of digestion takes place. Okay, from starting from the mouth to the anus. I will not teach the disorders further for today. Next class, I will teach the disorders as well as the biomolecules. Okay, if you have any doubts from this portion, please ask. Okay, any doubts, please ask. Otherwise, we will end the class. I hope, did you give your attendance, everyone? Everyone, did you give your attendance?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, any doubts, you can ask me next class, okay? I will stop sharing. Give the attendance. Okay, you can leave. Thank you. You've
Thank
given your
you, ma'am.
attendance, you can leave.